MLB The Show 26 will soon be revealed, and if SDS follows the pattern that they've used the last few years, we could be in store for a fun year as baseball fans. With the announcement trailer and cover athlete reveal expected any day now, I thought this was a perfect time to go over some realistic predictions and expectations for what we could see in this year's game. I could easily make a wishlist video filled with everything I hope SDS adds, but realistically, that's not how yearly sports games work. Development teams usually focus on incremental improvements rather than massive overhauls so they can meet deadlines and consistently improve the experience year to year. And that's not a knock to SDS. I'm not hating on SDS. That's just the reality. With that said, here are 5 realistic predictions for MLB The Show 26. Starting things off with an honorable mention. A prediction that feels just way too obvious to ignore. Improved trade logic. Now that's obvious, but what about AI enhanced trade logic? At this point, it almost feels like a free square, a guarantee that the CPU logic and franchise will be improved. Every year, SDS attempts to make improvements to franchise mode, and to their credit, there are noticeable changes every year, and some good, some not bad, some actually pretty bad. But franchise mode is always enjoyable, and it's one area that SDS continues to struggle with, and even though they try to make changes to the CPU trade logic and roster management, they've kind of fallen flat. And while it has improved over the years, it still doesn't come close to a game like out of the park baseball. There's clearly room to grow, and SDS knows it. That's why I think this year we might for the first time see AI-driven improvements, AI-enhanced improvements. AI could be a great tool, not just for trade logic, but also for player aging, roster decisions, and long-term team building. If SDS leans into AI as a tool to enhance realism, it could be a major boost to franchise mode, not just this year, but every year moving forward. And it could be an easy marketing point for them to use as this cool new, feature and improvement to their development of franchise mode. And if it's not fully realized this year and they don't take advantage of AI now, I'm sure they will next year in MLB The Show 27. But I think it's a pretty smart prediction to make with the AI boom that's been going on with everything else in the world. The World Baseball Classic is one of the coolest things in baseball. Players know it, fans know it, SDS knows it. And in MLB The Show 23, SDS leaned heavily into the WBC content in Diamond Dynasty. And despite issues with sets and seasons, that first WBC season was genuinely special. For many players, it was their introduction to international stars like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Munetaka Murakami, Roki Sasaki, and this time around, I think SDS goes a step further and introduces a full offline WBC tournament mode. Imagine selecting your home country and playing through the entire tournament and leading your home country to victory. This would be a perfect addition for offline players, something more engaging than just playing against a computer in a random game or playing in the home run derby. But it would also be far less time consuming than a full season mode, franchise mode. You wouldn't have to make a commitment to 162 games. It would also be a good tie-in for Diamond Dynasty and online play as an alternative to Conquest or mini seasons. Now, Conquest and mini seasons, say what you want. I'm completely over them. I'm tired of Conquest. It's the same mode year in, year out. It's the same grind. It's the same format. I'm over Conquest. When it comes to mini seasons could be fun, but it's definitely more, again, of a commitment. You have to commit at least 20 games to it, and it's definitely a lot of work. I think kind of shortening the offline grind to something like a WBC tournament would be good, not just for offline but online players. WBC tournament also, is a mode that feels very realistic, very marketable, and very on brand for SDS. And I think there's no doubt without my mind that there is a WBC centered program this year, WBC centered marketing, and definitely I think this I'm pretty sure about. They've got to add a mode. There's no way they don't. One of the biggest missteps in MLB Show 25 was the lack of meaningful rewards in Battle Royale and events. Early in the cycle, BR had a couple unique 12-0 rewards, but that quickly disappeared, and soon, the only rewards for Battle Royale was in Chase Packs, Chase Choice Packs. Valuable cards, sure, but they weren't exclusive. There was nothing special about them to the mode itself. Events were even worse, offering basically no incentive outside of grinding online stat missions, and even then, most of those stat missions could be grinded in other game modes. Last year, 2 once popular modes became nearly irrelevant, forcing players into ranked or spending endless hours just grinding offline. This is a classic sports game cycle where things get removed, content structure changes, fans complain, and the dev team eventually turns around, reverses that mistake, and the next year, following year, they bring it back into the game, they return the mode to what it once was, and they kind of brand it as like, oh, look what we did. We added these brand new features and made changes that everyone's going to love. And again, this isn't a knock to SDS. I don't think they did it intentionally. I don't think they were trying to sabotage their own game. It's just sometimes you make changes and things don't work out. And I think fixing modes like BR and events is going to go a long way to bring people back to Diamond Dynasty, to make Diamond Dynasty more fun. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that last year was a flop. I can't see how SDS ignores what happened last year with VR and events. I'm certain that they will not only bring them back to what they once were, I think they're also going to make improvements and build on kind of the missteps that they took last year. And I think those games are going to see a huge resurgence in popularity and maybe even, the importance of playing them out. With MLB officially implementing the ABS system this year, I think you could bet that it'll appear in MLB The Show 26. SDS has consistently been good about adding real-life rule changes into the game as they happen. Pitch clocks, bigger bases, 3-batter minimums, all things that have been added to the game, and I expect this year to be no different. Given how long the ABS system has been tested in spring training, how long it's been tested in the minors, used in events like the All-Star Game, SDS has likely been working on this and prepping for this for years, and I expect them to fully implement it into the game this year. For offline, I expect a smooth system that allows players to fully challenge balls and strikes similar to how they would in real life. I'm sure SDS has programmed a button to make it work smooth. Probably have a certain time after each pitch to do it, just like you do in real life. I don't really see it being a big issue. When it comes to online, you don't even have to implement the ABS system. You just need perfect umpires that call perfect balls and strikes. As Diamond Dynasty goes right now, technically, I believe that they're perfect umpires, but clearly they're not always right. Players are always getting upset over balls and strike calls. I think this year we're going to see a reworked strike zone that is more accurate, better represents the ABS system in real life. And I think it's going to bring a lot of important factors back into pitching, such as, getting those calls on the black, calls on the very edge of the zone, actually going the pitcher's way instead of the batter's way. I think it's going to be really important for online play. This could kind of subtly shift the balance back towards pitching, take it away from hitting. Ever since perfects were introduced to the game, hitting's kind of always been the stronger point for most players. Even if ABS as a system isn't fully implemented into the game this year, I think changes to strike and ball logic feel inevitable. And again, this is another thing that I just think is realistic to expect for this year. I don't see how SDS could go another year with just ignoring that, especially with the ABS this year. Next up on the list, I have pitching overall. For a couple years now, it seems like the focus for SDS has been to fix the hitting and make hitting better, more rewarding for players. And I think this is actually the year that they turn to pitching to better improve gameplay. I think hitting's actually in a pretty good spot. You could argue that perfects don't get rewarded as much as they should. And I think the reason for that is probably because they're looking for a way to limit the actual amount of really good contact that comes from player input. Because they mentioned before that they think it's a priority to keep baseball, MLB The Show a little more realistic to real life baseball. And by that, trying to limit the scoring. If every perfect input was rewarded how it should, the games you'd be seeing online would probably be scoring a whole lot more. Even now, any good player could probably score 15 to 20 runs per game. And oftentimes you see that a lot with top 50 players. They're scoring 10, 15, 20 runs. They get in these crazy shootouts where it's basically who could score more. So again, I think this is why maybe instead of trying to address the hitting for a third, fourth, fifth year in a row, they turn to pitching. I think over the last couple of years, hitting has gotten out of hand compared to pitching. And not that hitting is too easy or that pitching is too hard. I actually think, perfect input for pitching is really easy. The problem is you're not getting rewarded for the perfect input on pitching. And in turn, because you're not getting rewarded for the perfect pitching, you're not getting rewarded for perfect hitting. And there's a lot of different aspects that go into this. For one, the par size on pitches or on pitchers with really high attributes, especially like accuracy attributes. To me, I feel like you should be able to pinpoint exactly where you want that ball to go. I think it's kind of ridiculous that you can have perfect user input and it's still almost a little RNG, almost a quarter of the zone for where you want a ball to go. It could be the difference between strikes and balls, and especially online when you get to higher level players, they do a really good job of actually laying off pitches. I think some of the better players, especially like top 50 players, they're really good at not swinging at balls. So when you have to control the count, control the zone, you can't rely on this RNG to basically control the way you pitch to a pitcher or to a player throughout the whole game. So for one, I think par sizes need to be a lot smaller. As I mentioned earlier, with bringing the ABS system and having to change the way strike zone works, this could be a good year for them to fix the pitching when it comes to actually getting those crazy super dot calls on the black, on the edge of the zone. There used to be this thing in MLB The Show called super dots. That's what the community call it, where basically you just dot up the corners really crazy, barely little piece of the ball touches the zone and it counts as a strike. And I could see them bringing that back, especially with the ABS system. So unless SDS completely introduces a brand new gameplay engine, which they're not going to do, I think improving pitching as opposed to hitting is the best next step for this year's game. And I think this year they do that. I think a lot of players would agree that pitching needs to be addressed. And if SDS goes another year without addressing that, I don't think it would be good gameplay wise. So I think, again, that's why I think it's going to be this year. Okay, on the list I have customization improvements, specifically for players in Diamond Dynasty. So even if gameplay improves or it doesn't improve, there's one area where MLB The Show is heavily lacking, especially compared to other sports games like Madden, 2K, college football. So this prediction, I think, is more so the biggest wish I have as opposed to like an actual true prediction. But there was a little hint last year on why I think this could be the year we see a lot more changes and a lot more fixes to players and custom uniforms. So last year, one of the sneaky little things they did that if you weren't paying attention, you probably don't even know they did this, unless, you care about Road to the Show and you care about custom players and stuff like that, or if you have a keen eye on Diamond Dynasty. They changed the way hair physics work. Last year, they added basically like free-flowing hair, so your hair is not like stagnant on your player model. And this is a big change for SDS. They actually had a lot of issues on Diamond Dynasty with frame rates being caused by different hairstyles, these free-flowing hairstyles, and they put a lot of effort into improving that. And that's just one aspect of player models and player customization. But I think this year we see another step forward. I think that was just the beginning. This year they're going to add more. What that is, I'm not sure, but I have a feeling if we do get player customization, they're going to really update it to make it feel not so outdated. If you look at the player customization suite, the Diamond Dynasty team uniform suite, it's the same thing we've had for like the last 10 years. I could literally show gameplay from like MLB The Show 18, like 8-9 years ago, and literally show you that suite and compare it to MLB The Show 25. It's like the exact same thing. There's been like no changes. It's heavily lacking. It's one of the things that I really want them to fix the most. And I think maybe last year with the hair was just a little kind of preview to more to come. When it comes to Diamond Dynasty and team uniforms, like we've had the same team options, and with these Nike City Connects that are coming out the last couple years, there's a lot of cool new uniforms that are out there, and I wish we could replicate them, right? Either with like gradients on jerseys or these cool new like logo placements. I mean, I would love to be able to upload custom images like you can in other sports games, and SDS might have the reasons why they don't want us to. I know the community would probably be a little toxic with that, and that's okay. I mean, that if we don't get that, I won't complain. But if we don't get any customization updates for players or Diamond Dynasty teams in MLB The Show 26 this year, I will have a big issue because, one, they've shown in the past, especially last year, that they're willing to fix stuff and kind of update it, but they're like fully lacking behind other games. So I really want to see them make a huge step forward, and I'm hoping and praying that this is probably the year. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and bet that this is the year we see player customization updates. So there you have it. Those are my picks, my predictions for what I think SDS is going to tackle and try to improve this year in MLB The Show 26. This is my first time making a video like this. I don't know how well I'm going to edit and put everything together, so hopefully I don't sound too robotic. But if you enjoyed, please leave a comment. If you didn't, please let me know what I could do better in the next. I could talk for days about what I wish they would actually put in the show. Yeah, that would be a fun video. So thank you again if you made it this far. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Peace.